I wonder if John Parker Wilson would do a darkness retreat. John Parker, would you do a darkness retreat?
No. That kind of scares me a little bit.
Would I thought a darkness retreat was something like one of Saban's meetings, one of the team meetings with you guys after it didn't go good, or y'all had a bad day at practice or something.
That is a solid point. I've had my fair share of darkness retreats in my day. That's exactly right. It's in the eye of the beholder, these darkness retreats.
Sure. That's exactly right. I just can't believe that somebody pays vast amounts of money to go sit out in a cabin in the woods with the lights off. Unbelievable business model, best plan ever. John Parker, I do got to ask you, though, Bryce not throwing at the combine, and the combine in general, I want you to, Cone was talking about it, I want another quarterback to talk about it. Why do we throw without pads on at pro days and combines? That's like pitching without a glove.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, look, I think the pro days and the combines, I mean, especially for a quarterback, you go out there and it is different. It's like going out there and playing 7-on-7 and only seeing that and saying, this guy's going to be a great NFL quarterback. There's so many other things that go into playing quarterback besides just dropping back 3 steps, having a perfect pocket and hitting the guy on a 10-yard out route, right? So,
yeah.
You can see his arm strength, but you can see that from tape.
Yeah.
I think Bryce has played enough snaps where, hey, dude, you got it. We want to talk to you. That's probably a lot more or interesting for the GMs and for the head coaches than go out there and see if he can make the throws. And I think it depends on where you're at. I remember when I was coming out, I would throw for anybody who wanted to watch.
Yeah.
I was trying to make it. I was trying to get there. So it's shoot, man, I'll do anything you ask me to. If you want to act like a DB and backpedal, I got you. But Bryce has done it. I remember Matt Ryan was a year ahead of me. He didn't. I don't think he did the combine. Stafford was the same year. Those guys don't need to do the combine. They were going to be the 1-1 and the top pick in the draft. But it just kind of depends on where you're supposed to be slotted. But I mean, Bryce can throw. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to ask you this too. When you look at this draft class of quarterbacks, you look at Bryce, you look at CJ, some of the top guys we keep hearing. Who's a guy that may be under the radar to you, maybe a Hendon Hooker or somebody like that you think may end up being a guy that could turn into a star possibly?
Yeah, I think Hendon Hooker, I think he's a good player. What they kind of did for the program, I don't think you can downplay that. I think, especially, if you get drafted towards the top of the NFL, you're going to a subpar team, they have big draft picks for a reason, right? And Hooker's a guy that's kind of turned this program around and gotten them back to be, top 5, top 10 in the country. I think, his athletic ability is awesome. He can throw, he can run, he's got good pocket presence, he's got a great arm. But, I think a lot of times we forget that all the intangibles that going into quarterback is probably just as important as going to be able to have the biggest arm in the league.
Yeah.
That's part of it. But to me, hey, if I'm drafting a guy to be my franchise quarterback, you're spending the first round pick on a quarterback, you got to hit on these guys. The GMs know you got to hit on them. And I want a guy that can lead my team, that can lead the locker room. And I think Hooker's a guy that can do that. Obviously, you got the big names at top, but Hooker's impressed me the past couple of years I've seen him play.
Yeah, well, I've said it since, watching the first couple games of last year. He's the most dangerous hooker in the United States since Eileen Warnos. Go ahead.
Hey, John Parker. John Parker, there are some other Alabama quarterbacks having success in the NFL. Jalen Hurts just made it to the Super Bowl, was an MVP finalist. You got Mac Jones up in New England. And I want to talk about Tua for a second. Clearly the skill set is there, and the Miami Dolphins have put weapons around him with the Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle combination. Do you think moving forward, Tua can find a way to stay healthy and continue to be a starter in the NFL, or are Tua's best football days behind him?
I think that's obviously the biggest thing is staying healthy. And I think, as he goes through his career, and as any great quarterback goes through his career, learning how to stay healthy is important. Learning how to protect yourself, knowing that, it might be 3rd and 12 in the second quarter on week 4, and it is a big play, and we get it, but we got to get you through the season. We need you to play in the playoffs. We need you to play every snap of the season. And I think that's one of the things that he will learn along the way. Obviously, he's had a lot of injury troubles, but I think, you take a step back after the season and say, okay, my number one thing is protecting myself. And I got to do that not just for myself, but for my teammates, for the coaches, for the organization, for everybody. So I think that's the thing that you just have to learn, and you have to accept that you can't go out there and just grind out every snap. Now you're trying your best, but protecting yourself, I think, is going to be big for him. I think he's smart enough to understand that. I think he's smart enough to realize that. And then, it's easy to say that in the meetings and when you're just sitting in your locker thinking about it. But I think he's smart enough to take that to the field and say, okay, this is what I got to do. I know I can play. I just got to protect myself. And that just comes with, I think, thinking about it, and comes with a little maturation, which he's like, 2 or 3 years in the league now. This is his 4th year. So it's time for him to, grasp that, say, hey, I got to be healthy for my guys all year long.
Yeah, well, John Parker, it's funny talking about this, and I know it's easier said than done, because I watched you play, and you didn't protect yourself a whole lot. I know college is different than the NFL, but if anybody would stand in there, I remember watching you standing there and take a hit against LSU, and I know it's different standing there and delivering the ball and taking a hit as opposed to saying, I'm going to tuck it and run it. But, man, you took some shots in your day too, my friend.
Oh, you got to believe, man. That was part of my game, though. That was,
for sure.
It really was, like, staying on the pocket and just taking a hit. And, I guess I developed the ability to do that. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that was part of it. And I think I was kind of built for that. So it was just it was part of my game, but it was kind of needed too at the time. Kind of had that was all we had.
Well, you set the tone, man. Your toughness set the tone a lot for that team.
And that's important, especially when you have a new coaching change.
That's true. That's very true. You're trying to
John Parker went through a coaching change. Before Blaine jumps in here, John Parker, I want to ask, you got Tommy Rees coming in as the offensive coordinator at Alabama, replacing Bill O'Brien. You're not going to have Bryce Young returning. Going to have a new quarterback under center for the Crimson Tide. How are you feeling about Alabama next season?
I'm feeling good. I mean, I think Kevin Stills is a great pickup. He was there my first year, or the first year with Coach Saban was there. I think he's a great coach, great communicator, and he's had success everywhere he's been. I think Tommy Rees I think if you're going to make an offensive coordinator change with a new quarterback, is probably a good thing, right? He's learning along with the other quarterback where, y'all are kind of figuring it out together. That might be half glass full the way I'm looking at it, but that's the way I'm going to take it. But I've heard great things about Tommy Rees. I mean, he's played a big program. He's been a part of a big program. And now, he gets to bring, I think for Coach Saban, is a new set of ideas to the table. And that's what Coach Saban does really good, is empowering these new guys to come in and say, hey, I don't know everything. I want you to teach me what you know, and let's go form a game plan together. Saban's been good at that throughout his career. I think Tommy's going to be no different. A younger guy, but with new ideas. And I think Alabama fans, more than anybody, is pumped about his kind of DNA and pedigree of, hey, we're going to run the ball, we're going to be physical, and set the tone up front. And I think, and especially today, like, it was the Big 12, and then kind of everybody evolved in this spread passing attack, and now it's kind of like, okay, everybody's there, so what are you going to do different to separate yourself from all the other teams? I think this is one way to do that with getting back and saying, hey, we're going to run the ball, and then set up some passes off that run.
No doubt. We saw Georgia do it.
For sure.
Yeah, speaking of Georgia, John, if you're the Bears, are you letting that first pick go? Are you trading that first pick, or are you going to go get that thing running around in Georgia?
I don't know, but Georgia's interesting. I mean, Georgia's playing damn fullback this year. The fullback is gone, and you see a fullback out there for Georgia. I mean, look, I think they've built a great program. Kirby Smart's done a heck of a job. So, kind of like what we've seen for Alabama the past few years, where it's like, all right, if the Alabama guy's available, let's draft him because we know he's trained, he's ready to go. Like, he is day one ready to play. I think Georgia's obviously in that same class right now.
You think Georgia wins the East this year?
I think obviously they put themselves in a great position. You see Tennessee making some strides, but I think Georgia's obviously got to be the favorite to win it. They've got all the momentum. They continue to recruit well. They got Kirby Smart and the rest of his staff there that's just has got to figure it out. So I think they've got to be the favorite out of the East.
Yeah, I want to ask this one last question here, JP. We're here with John Parker Wilson, former Alabama quarterback, doer of many things. Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson? Right now, What are you leaning either way, or do you need to see a little more in spring? We got a little taste of Jalen Milroe last year. How are you feeling about the quarterback situation?
I feel really good about the room. I think both of these guys are capable. I think they're different, which is good. Just knowing how this thing's going to play out, it's probably going to go to the week of the opening game, and we won't know about it until we see who's the first one to run out there. But look, I think Coach Saban, I love it when we have a quarterback battle, because one of his things is like, hey, obviously I'm going to pick the quarterback and I'm going to pick the starter because I'm the head coach. But a lot of times you see the team pick the quarterback. You see the team pick who's going to be the guy who they rally behind. So this is, just like we're talking about the combine, it's not about just arm throw and pocket presence. It's about leadership and getting the guys to buy in and believe that, hey, we got a chance with this guy to go win football games. So it'll play out through spring and through summer camp, which I think is awesome. I think it makes both quarterbacks better. It makes the team better. And then, God forbid something happens to whoever the starter is, then you get another guy right there that's had, probably equal reps going into the first week. And then it'll change and the starter will emerge. But, I think it's a weapon when you can have two really good, talented quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And sure, we're probably going to have one starting quarterback, but if you can develop two guys and have them ready, that's depth for their team that you could use. And, we did it when Tua was starting, and then he gets hurt and Mac Jones comes in, and it's like, hey, this guy is different than Tua, but damn, he's good. He's just as good as Tua.
Yeah, the old saying always stays true at quarterback. You win the team, you win the job. John Parker Wilson, appreciate it, my friend. Let's get a cold soda soon.
Let's do it, boys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, brother. Buddy. See ya. Hey, YouTube, appreciate you guys checking us out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on, and hit that like button, because, again, that's how we grow, and we want to keep growing so we can sprout into a tree of sports knowledge, because this is the Trust Tree. Welcome in, take a seat, and subscribe.